Good evening. This is VK3EKH, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, VK3EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with the regular Friday night broadcast coming to you from the studios of VK3CSJ in Narre Warren South. We're broadcasting on the prime frequency of 3541 kilohertz in the 80 metre amateur radio band, and also on the Melbourne television repeater VK3RTV in full HD on digital channel 1, which can be received on 445.5 megahertz with the DVB-T2 set-top box. And I'm also streaming on my YouTube channel VK3CSJ. Just look for the live indicator, and also on my Discord HD stream. And as I say every week, Discord is the preferable way to be able to view the video here, as it's near real time. So if you can go to Discord and log on to Discord, register, remember your password, never forget your password, and then go to my QRZ.com page. I provide a universal link that allows you to go straight to the astronomy chat room and hence the HD channel. Much better to watch via Discord, like I say, because the video, as you hear me live on 80 meters here, the graphics and video that I play show less than a second on Discord, whereas with YouTube it's up to 20-second delay, which can be a bit frustrating. Nevertheless, we do have a YouTube running, a YouTube channel running, whatever, and hopefully it won't fall over during the session tonight on this 30th of May, as we come up to a new month and get into the coldest part of the year, winter time. Anyway, so there it is. We'll see you all next week. Okay, I've got a short session tonight. I think I say that almost every Friday night, and it always goes to beyond 11 o'clock. But anyway, I've got a few things, but we'll keep it reasonably short tonight. I'm not working tomorrow, fortunately, so it does mean that I can hang out till 3 o'clock in the morning. Righto, Mr. Brash, let's get on to it. For those that are tuned in for the first time and wondering what the hell is going on, this is a regular Friday night broadcast, basically at the whims of me. If I decide not to do it on a Friday night, then I don't, and I send out an email to everybody to say there won't be any ASV meeting or section broadcast, whatever you want to call it, on this night. But and I've got a bit of a headache, so I was pretty close to making a decision about that, but I thought, no, I'll go ahead and do it. Anyway, so nevertheless, good morning, and I shall take these headphones off because listening to myself is rather annoying. I just wanted to make sure that the audio into the 9000D was okay. So I think it is. We have an email address, VK. Oh, now I sound totally different with the headphones off. We have an email address which I better open up here. I've had to reboot the computer since coming in here tonight, and I better make sure that my email is going, which it is. Alright, so if you wish to send signal reports, you can go to vk3ekh@gmail.com, vk3ekh@gmail.com, and that will be fine. Alright, so I've got the inbox open in front of me here, so I'll just minimise that for the time being. Okay, for folks that are... Oh, hang on, let me just check if the audio is okay on the repeater. Yep, that's good. The ASV is... that's what I was going to say before. Yeah, so we've been broadcasting since 1988. In fact, all the information I'm about to say is on my QRZ.com page for VK3EKH, so you can just go there if you like to read it right now. But otherwise, the the service that I provide is been here since 1988, and so it's almost 20 years. I mean, almost 40 years. Just a couple of more years for me, and it'll make it 20 for me. So I have been seriously considering closing down the Friday night session over the last few months, but I'm still here and still running it for the sake of running it on behalf of the ASV. So yeah, we'll just see. I'm just giving you a fair warning that I may disappear. Get out of this groove, Clint. The ASV is a non-profit society for people interested in astronomy, attracting and catering for people with a wide range of ages and backgrounds, abilities and interests. First formed in 1922, the society has grown to over 1,000 members. Its activities are coordinated by a council of elected office bearers, section directors or section leads, I think they call them now, and ordinary councillors. The ASV has weekly activities at our two metropolitan locations. One's the now called the Morley Community Village, and the Melbourne Observatory in the Botanical Gardens there, that little group of domes. And we host monthly astro talks at the Herbarium near the Melbourne Observatory. And I can actually tell you at this stage that the astro talk for June, and I can't tell you a whole lot, but I can tell you this much, that for the astro talk for June, slated for the 11th of June, we're having a presentation by a Dr. Annie Handmar, but there's no synopsis of what she's talking about. So anyway, come June 11, and hopefully I'll remember to broadcast it over the TV repeater when it happens. It'll be a Wednesday night. There's a presentation by a Dr. Annie Handmar, so you can probably Google that to find out what she's particularly her interest is. But there's no synopsis there, so I can't tell you what she is going to talk about. But of course, it is a couple of weeks away, so I'll no doubt get some more information on that and be able to tell you. Nevertheless, getting back to where I was, the Society's library, and I always boast about the library because it is such an extensive library full of books from modern recent publications to publications that go back beyond the history of time. You walk into the library and you're bowled over by the smell of aging books and magazines. It's a library, so it is really quite a stunning area to explore. The Society's library is also located at the Melbourne Observatory, and is open during our Astro Talk. So when the Astro Talk is during the Astro Talk, the doors will be closed, but the library is open. I think it's half an hour before the Astro Talk, so about 7:30 to 8, and then after the presentation is finished, around about 10 o'clock, everything tries to finish up. The library will be open again for another 30 minutes, maybe 60 minutes, but I think at least 30 minutes if you want to go back to the library to search for something. Our members conduct astronomy for the people gatherings throughout the year. It's a bit like what the Americans call sidewalk astronomy, and bringing telescopes and astronomy to Melbourne's parks and schools. They say here to check the calendar for any events that might occur, because it is an event that will be open to the public to come in. So they call it people gatherings throughout the year, astronomy for the people. So the sky is free. And when you're looking at the stars above our heads, it's a free thing. So you should be able to find out all you need to know about the stars above our heads freely, more or less. Okay. The ASV is currently involved in a number of major projects. They say here that we are involved in the restoration of the Great Melbourne Telescope, and there's been a fairly dedicated team of ASV members that have been involved with the restoration of that telescope since it was burnt to nothing in the fires at Canberra a few years ago. And what was remained of that telescope was brought down to a warehouse in Melbourne, where it's been worked upon by dedicated members volunteering their time to resurrect from the ashes the Great Melbourne Telescope, and it is not too far from being placed in a position to be observed and the story told. And I believe that the original telescope house of where the Great Melbourne Telescope was originally housed in Melbourne, there at the Melbourne Observatory, it will be placed back there in due course, probably another couple of years away. But it's a lot of work has gone into resurrecting the telescope, Great Melbourne Telescope. Just type in Great Melbourne Telescope in your Wikipedia and you will find out all you need to know about that one. But that's what the ASV and Melbourne Museum Victoria, or whatever they're called, are involved with. We're also working on the installation of a series of remote telescopes at the dark sky site. The Astronomical Society of Victoria has a property just located north of Heathcote, central Victoria. It's about 30 acres, I think, or 30 hectares, one of the two. And the site was donated by a former long-time member of the ASV, Leon Mao, and hence the name Leon Mao Dark Sky Site. And a lot's been going on up there since the site was acquired in the early 2000s. And it's now expanded quite considerably with the club room being redone and sleeping accommodation up there, quite decent buildings with plenty of bunks to sleep in, and showering and toilet facilities. There's a fairly large building that houses the 40-inch telescope, which I've yet to look through. I've never looked through that one yet. And of course there's a 16-inch, is it a 16-incher? I think it's a 16-inch telescope. Yep. Which has been designed to allow people, for instance, that are in wheelchairs to be able to safely look through the eyepiece. And so it's a special observatory set for that purpose. There's pretty much wheelchair access right across the site. There's been footpaths created so that anybody that is in a wheelchair can wheel around. So makes it pretty easy. And so yes, a lot of work has gone into the site to upgrade it. Also on the site is a 25-inch telescope and a 40-inch telescope, and they're all worth looking through if you get a chance to on a dark sky night, a clear night. I mean, if you've ever seen the stars out in the country, then you're missing. It's an amazing show. Also, there's an 8.5 or 30-foot radio telescope up there. It's a Kennedy dish. If you've ever seen Doug MacArthur, the late Doug MacArthur's Kennedy dish that he used, which is still on his property as far as I know, going by Google Earth, it's still there. Yes, it's the same antenna, the same DS Kennedy antenna, 30-foot dish. and we acquired that some time ago, and it's fully steerable on its own support, and you can become involved with that through involvement with the radio astronomy section. There's also a annual yearbook published by the Society, which I don't know where my 2025 book's got to, but that's the yearbook that ASV publish. It's quite a decent publication, and for optical astronomers that are doing their own thing, that's a very valuable lot of information in there. So yeah, and it's lost its smell. But and then of course there is a Crux newsletter. Used to be called a newsletter. It's now a magazine, but that's the magazine. It's a bi-monthly magazine, and there's the ASV logo for those watching the TV, and it's quite a great, good publication. That particular magazine is sent out to clubs and societies all over the world, so that they have, free of charge. It's just mailed out to quite a lot of groups, astronomy groups and societies, so they can see what's happening within the ASV here in Victoria. The ASV is governed, of course, by a set of rules which should be read before applying membership, just for your benefit. There is a link here that I'm just going to click on this, because last time I clicked on this it went nowhere. I'm just going to double check to see whether it does in fact. Oh, look at that, there it is. Yep, it goes there. The rules of the Astronomical Society of Victoria Incorporated. There it is. So that link does work, and it's a million pages long. Let me see if I can get a definite figure on that. Oh, it's only 24 pages. All right. Just seems to be a lot. Okay, 24 pages. And there it is. So the society has changed quite a bit over the years, changing from one format of how it was governed to another format. And I have no doubt that is mentioned in this document. But there it is. It is available to look at easily from the ASV website. So yeah, that's good to see that link's working, because it wasn't at one stage. So any person or organisation with an interest in astronomy may apply for membership of the society. You're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel. All right, and just to finish off with the general information on the society, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 active sections that make up the ASV. There used to be 21 in fact. So it's sad that some of the sections have had to close down, but it's only mainly because of the trying to get section directors to volunteer their time to keep the section active and going, and to get members, involved. So some of those sections have actually temporarily, at least, they've closed down. But nevertheless, the ones that are quite active and continue to run is the astrophotography section. That's probably the biggest section out of all of them, biggest membership there. The club section, comet and meteor section, computing section, cosmology and astrophysics section, deep sky, historical section, instrument making, juniors, lunar and planetary, new astronomers group, radio astronomy, solar astronomy, and space exploration. And the space exploration one is very, very active, in the sense that the young lass that looks after that section is very, very active in keeping the Facebook page absolutely busy as. She's finding information about what's going on in astronomy and space exploration, and she posts every day. She is posting news items of interest. I think I could easily get all the information that I broadcast here on a Friday night. I could just zero in on that one page, and there'd be enough to run an hour's session. So, Kate is very, very busy with that one. Space exploration section of the ASV targets how we explore our universe, robotic craft, the science of discovery, lunar outposts, Martian colonies, life on Europa. It's all out there waiting to be discovered, she says. We will learn about how small our planet is, how precious life is, look for life elsewhere in the universe. We can discover together as a section with projects that will connect us to space. There are guest speakers at meetings, build space exploration projects, look for extrasolar planets, communicate with spacecraft. All of these are possible, and by joining in activities with our sections, we can achieve more together than by ourselves by utilising the radio astronomy section, astrophotography section, instrument building and optical section. Wow. Section meeting times are the first Thursday night of the month at 8 p.m. She says we all look forward to getting back to face-to-face meetings, but for those members out in the country, we will always have a Zoom section running. Session, that is to say, a Zoom session. The ASV library has a huge collection of books on space exploration, so once we are allowed back to the library, don't hesitate to borrow some books. Some of the text there needs to be updated, I think, but it's kind of talking COVID times, I think. But anyway, that was a very brief description of the space exploration, and you can contact the section director there. There is an email there to see if you're interested in popping in on a Zoom meeting, perhaps, and seeing what goes on. But that's just an example of the types of what the sections get up to and their monthly meetings. So that's the ASV in a nutshell. The rules, it's good to see that. I might download that and save it. Alright, the time is 23 past the hour, 22, 23. And I thought this was an interesting read. Apparently we have a new dwarf planet orbiting the Sun in conjunction with Pluto, in the sense that a recently discovered object has a diameter about 1/3 that of Pluto. This was published May 23rd. Does our solar system have a new dwarf planet? They've got a kind of a picture here of this. This is the sort of thing that gets photographed. Oh, there it is. I did bring it across. So for those watching TV, there's a very noisy looking image of this dwarf planet. But what they do is they take a series of images, and for instance, that star field in the background there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 objects in the background. They basically stay relatively the same, but the dwarf planet, which is arrowed, moves against the background, and that's how we determine that there is something orbiting and moving about. Anyway, very quickly I'll go through this article. Let me see. On May 21, the International Astronomical Union's Minor Planet Centre announced the discovery of 2017 OF201, which, because of its distance beyond Neptune, is classified as a trans-Neptunian object. A trans-Neptunian object, or a TNO. The science team that found the new body was led by Xiao Cheng and Martin A. and Helen Chuljian, member of the Institute of Advanced Studies School of Natural Sciences. Cheng made the discovery with Zhaozhen Lai and Eurydice Yang from the Princeton Universities. University. They used sophisticated methods to identify the object's orbit, and in fact they identified 2017 OF201 in 19 different images. So that's like what I was saying just at the beginning there, that they take several images and look for objects that move against an otherwise very still background. So in this case they identified it with 19 different images captured over 7 years. The new TNO is special for two reasons: its extreme orbit and its large size. The object's aphelion, which is the farthest point on the orbit from the Sun, is more than 1,600 times that of the Earth's orbit, explains Cheng. Meanwhile, its perihelion, I always trip over those words, the closest point on its orbit is to the Sun, is 44.5 times that of Earth's orbit. Similar to Pluto's orbit, where Pluto's orbital extremes are 29.5 times the Earth-Sun distance at its closest, and 49.33 times the distance at the farthest. The orbit of 2017 OF201 means that it takes approximately 25,000 years to travel just once around the Sun. They say here it must have experienced close encounters with a giant planet, causing it to be ejected to a wide orbit, says Yang. There may have been more than one step in its migration. It's possible that this orbit was first ejected to the Oort cloud, the most distant region in our solar system, which is home to many comets, and then sent back, Cheng's adds. The size of 2017 OF201, the team estimates its diameter to be 700 kilometres. Also sets it apart. If confirmed, the size would make it the second largest known TNO. As a comparison, Pluto's diameter is 2,377 kilometres. They end the article by saying many extreme TNOs have orbits that appear to cluster in specific orientations, but 2017 OF201 deviates from this, says Lai. Some researchers have interpreted this clustering as indirect evidence of the existence of Planet 9. Those, whose gravity could be shepherding these objects. The existence of 2017 OF201 as an outlier to such clustering could challenge this hypothesis, they say. Whatever that result turns out to be, the discovery will help us better understand the outer solar system. Many scientists think that the area beyond the Kuiper Belt, where 2017 OF201 is located, is essentially empty, but the team's discovery suggests that this may not be the case. 2017 OF201 spends only 1% of its orbital time close enough to us to be detectable. The presence of this single object suggests that there could be another 100 or so other objects with similar orbit and size. They are just too far away to be detectable now, Cheng says. Even though the advances in telescopes have enabled us to explore distant parts of the universe, there is still a great deal to discover about our own solar system, which is interesting because I'm not that close to, I'm pretty close, I should say, to setting up my own observatory. And I hope to make the odd discovery, whether it be a dwarf planet or a comet, but I would think that it'd be rather interesting. Anyway, you never know. All right, you're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with the regular Friday night broadcast coming to you from the studios of Narre Warren South. Yes. Now, this is interesting. There's some absolutely amazing footage here. And if I haven't lost any of that footage, because it's very, very difficult. This is courtesy of space.com. Now, if any of you people have ever looked at space.com, www.space.com, you'll realize that the videos that they incorporate with their articles embedded in the web page are very difficult to deal with. You read the article, and the videos they embed in the web page is to do with the article, but generally once the video stops, it goes into some commercial advertising and crap, and you can't easily download the video. It's not a YouTube video. The videos that they show that are embedded in the page aren't YouTube, and so therefore it's very hard to save these images so that what I do here and show you on the TV can be presented. The only way I can do this is using vMix, which is the program I use to put all this together. And it's tricky because I've got to open up the website a few times, several times, to be able to hone in on these videos and then zoom them up so that all the text and advertising crap on either side of the image is not visible. And I just hope that from what I can see on my vMix here, they are there. So let's just see how this runs. All right, courtesy of space.com. Scientists capture never-before-seen plasma streams and bizarre raindrops in sharpest ever view of the sun's outer atmosphere. Video. This was published 22 hours ago. Using a newly developed adaptive optics system called CONA, C-O-N-A, scientists have peered through the Earth's turbulent air to reveal the sun's corona in astonishing clarity. The sun's outer atmosphere, the corona, has long intrigued scientists due to its extreme temperatures, violent eruptions and towering prominences, vast filaments of plasma extending out from the solar surface. Visible only during a total solar eclipse and blurred by the Earth's turbulent atmosphere, the corona has remained frustratingly elusive until now. Thanks to a breakthrough adaptive optics system called CONA, C-O-N-A, installed at the 1.6 metre Good Solar Telescope, GST, operated by NJIT Centre for Solar Terrestrial Research, CSTR, at Big Bear Solar Observatory, BBSO, in California, scientists now have access to unprecedented views of the sun. Here we take a look at the sharpest ever views of the sun's corona, from cascading coronal rain to a never-before-seen plasma stream. The videos are artificially colorized to show the hydrogen alpha light emitted by the plasma. The darker color is brighter light, they say here. So let me just bring up a couple of fixed images here first. Okay, now these are just fixed images, not the videos, but I do have some video of some of this. But just before I start or put the video on, just have a geezer at these images and just imagine what you're looking at. It is really, really quite stunning images and close-up views of the sun. And again, for those tuning in at this point in time, I do have a YouTube channel running. Just type in VK3CSJ on YouTube and look for the live indicator. I hope the audio level's okay on YouTube. It looks like it might be a little bit too much audio on YouTube. I hope not. And also Discord as well. In fact, let me just have a quick look at Discord. Oops, that's the wrong one. Yes, we have Andrew. G'day, Andrew. VK3KIS, Steve, VK3SBX, and Brett. G'day, Brett. VK2CBD, all tuning into the Discord stream. I have no idea if there's anybody watching YouTube. Okay, so now let me see if I can bring up the video side of this. There they all are. So they are running. So this is a video running here. Now, you're just mesmerized by this action, this close-up view of the surface there, the plasma, and the amazing activity that's going on in the corona part of the sun. Let me go back to the article. Where did I leave off? One of the most striking sights, the sharpest ever view of coronal rain. Okay, I'll go to that one now, because this article is referring to this, not this image you're seeing right now, but rather this one. Yeah, have a look at this. Isn't this beautiful? One of the most striking sights, the sharpest ever view of coronal rain, delicate threads of cooling plasma, some narrowing than 20 kilometers. Coronal rain forms when hotter plasma in the sun's corona cools and condenses. Akin to raindrops on Earth, coronal rain is pulled back down to the solar surface by gravity. But unlike Earth's rain, it doesn't take the most direct path straight down. The plasma is electrically charged, so follows the sun's magnetic field lines, arcing and looping as it cascades back to the solar surface, as you can see in this video running right now. And there's another one here. This guy. The incredible detailed solar observations also reveal a never-before-seen feature, the rapid formation and collapse of a finely structured plasma stream referred to as a plasmoid. The time-elapse video shows a plasmoid snaking across the sun at almost 62 miles or 100 kilometers per second. This is likely the first time a plasmoid has ever been observed. These are by far the most detailed observations of this kind, following features not previously observed, and it's not quite clear what they are. And of course where am I? Yep, okay. So, last but not least, an intricate look at a quickly reconstructing solar prominence dancing and twisting to the sun's magnetic field, which is what you're seeing now. The sun's soft, fluffy-looking surface comes from short-lived plasma jets known as spicules, dynamic features whose origins remain the subject of ongoing debate. Solar prominences are large loops of plasma, hot gases composed mainly of hydrogen and helium. They are anchored to the sun's surface in a photosphere. In the photosphere, the innermost visible layer of the sun's atmosphere, and reach out far into the sun's corona. But scientists have yet to determine exactly how they form in the first place. These new and improved views of the sun's corona are not only aesthetically pleasing, but they also offer a unique opportunity to study the corona like never before. The new coronal adaptive optics system closes this decades-old gap and delivers images of coronal features at 63 kilometers resolution. The theoretical limit of the 1.6 meter Good Solar Telescope said in the statement. By capturing the fine-scale structure and motion of cooler plasma, scientists are closing in on one of the sun's greatest mysteries: why the corona blazes millions of degrees hotter than the solar surface. These sharper views also aid our understanding of filament eruptions and coronal mass ejections, powerful blasts of plasma that fuel space weather, disrupt technology, and light up the skies with spectacular auroras. Scientists hope to bring this technology to even larger telescopes, including the 4-meter Daniel K Solar Telescope in Hawaii, promising an even closer look at the sun's outer layers. This marks the start of a new era in solar astronomy, promising many more discoveries in the years and decades to come. Yep, that'll do. So, yeah, rather amazing images. I'll just go back through the ones I've got here. Where am I? This one I like. I particularly like this one. It looks like alien creatures, something like out of War of the Worlds. The alien tripods walking on the surface. War of the Worlds, and of course this last one here, that one there too. But look at the fine detail in the surface of those that. Oh, it's just amazing stuff. Really is. All right, next on the scheme of things here. Where's my camera? Back to camera one. Hang on, let me get my hair right first. All right, you're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, where we're having a bit of fun tonight. All right, the next thing I was going to bring up, courtesy of Steve, VK3HK. Actually, this article, even though it's the same article, this is courtesy of Science Alert, www.sciencealert.com, same thing. Anyway, we've got a video for coming from Tamitha Scove in a minute. She's got a solar report, so hang out for that. The Chance X-ray discovery reveals mystery object 15,000 light years away. Published 29th of May. And there's a picture here. Let me bring up this picture first. Where are we? Where's this picture? There it is. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll just insert my image. There it is. Okay. The mystery of strangely blinking objects scattered throughout the Milky Way just deepened. Something 15,000 light years away from the sun isn't just slowly, methodically beaming out radio waves. Each pulse is also blasting emissions in X-ray wavelengths, serendipitous observations have revealed. This behavior is completely new, and scientists are at a loss to explain it. The object is unlike anything we have seen before, says astronomer Ziteng Andy Wang of the Curtin University node of the International Centre of Radio Astronomy Research, or ICRAR, in Australia. For a few years now, powerful radio telescopes in the Australian desert have been collecting observations of strange objects, ones that emit long pulses of radio waves with lengthy pauses between each emission. And just before I go on, the next image here, you've got a close-up picture. What you're looking at the moment is a close-up picture of where this burst of radio or X-ray emission is coming from, courtesy of the ASCAP radio telescope in Western Australia. But there's an image here which pulls back a little bit to reveal a much more of the star field, this one. And anyway, so it says here that the sky around ASCAP with data in radio, X-ray and infrared is what you're looking at here. The first detailed in a 2022 paper is 4,000 light years away and blasts out 30 to 60 seconds of radio waves every 18 minutes. This is what's really interesting. The next one was found to be 15,000 light years away, emitting 5-minute blasts of radio waves every 22 minutes. The third, identified 5,000 light years away, spits out 30 to 60 seconds of radio waves every 2.9 hours. To date, around 10 of these long period transients, LPTs, as they are known, have been discovered by astronomers around the world. This newly discovered object ups at the ante, however. Named ASCAP J1832-0911, it emits a 2-minute pulse every 44 minutes that consists of radio waves and X-rays. We might never have known this either, except that CSIRO's ASCAP radio telescope and NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory happened to be viewing the same patch of the sky at the same time and recorded simultaneous observations that revealed the weird behaviour. I've got a picture here of one of these ASCAP telescopes in question, and here it is. There's one of hundreds out in the Western Australia desert. The ASCAP radio telescope at the Wiradjuri Yamajai country in Western Australia. It's got to be indigenous. Discovering that ASCAP J1832-0911 was emitted X-rays felt like finding a needle in a haystack, Wang says. The ASCAP radio telescope has a wide field view of the night sky, while Chandra observed only a fraction of it. So it was fortunate that Chandra observed the same area of the night sky at the same time. The pulses of the object are very bright, and the luminosity of both kinds of emission is correlated. We also know that the source is compact and that no emission was detected prior to November 2023, suggesting that it only recently became active. At this point, however, it starts to become more difficult to narrow down what the object could be. And now there's a graph or a chart recording, so to speak, here of the radio and the X-ray, which is this one here. So as you can see, ASCAP was recording the pulse in radio and Chandra was recording the pulses in X-ray, so you can see how they correlate perfectly well. Both explanations have issues. Although the radio and X-ray pulses are in line with the magnetar behavior, the behavior of the object's other emissions are inconsistent with magnetar activity. Conversely, white dwarf emission is 7 orders of magnitude weaker than pulses emitted by ASCAP J1831 and polarized in a way we don't see from a mystery object, they say. It remains to be seen whether other LPTs can emit X-ray radiation in addition to their radio signals, and if they do, how common the behavior is. It's also possible that ASCAP J1831 is a different kind of object from other LPTs, but it's more exciting if it's a variation on the theme, since the presence of X-rays means any explanation needs to take them into account. That could help rule out some options, the researchers say. Finding one such object hints at the existence of many more, says astronomers Nanda Ray of the Institute of Space Science and and the Catalan Institute of Space Studies in Spain. The discovery of its transient X-ray emission opens up fresh insights into their mysterious natures. So that was an interesting one, and it would be a fascinating thing to be able to detect with a modest radio telescope, but I don't know how easy that would be, because when it's all considered, a lot of these, I think you'd need a radio telescope that has a very, very narrow point on the sky to be able to pick up that emission, whereas they did say that the ASCAP beam width is quite wide. So I don't know. It's an interesting thought. All right, I'm going to queue up Tamitha now. Let me just go back to me for a second. Actually, no, what I'll do is I'll bring up her card, and I've got to put the sound on Discord, or else you're not going to hear it. So let me just get my mouse in there if I can find the cursor. Oh, get there. All right. All right, now the audio is on, so I shall now queue up Tamitha, and there she is, waiting to start speaking. It goes for 10 minutes, this, so there it is. We have successfully filled up an hour. All right, stand by for Tamitha. I'm going to have to kill my audio, or else there'll be too much audio on 80 meters. So stand by for Tamitha Scove, the Space Weather Woman.
Big flare players return, which means radio blackouts are back. And a small set of coronal holes are going to give us a big chance for aurora. Those stories and more are in the news this week. Space weather this week is picking up in a very interesting way. As we take a look at our Earth-facing disk, I haven't started rotating this because I want you to pay attention to this longitude right about here, because everything was really quiet on the disk. We didn't have a lot of big flares until these regions started rotating into this hot longitude. In fact, you can see that eruption right there. We don't typically get eruptions coming out of coronal holes, so that tells you something's up with this longitude. And then watch as region 4098 begins to rotate right past it. Notice the flare activity. Notice it started growing. In fact, as we got late on the 24th into the 25th, we really started firing big solar flares. There's one big one. We have that was a big X-class flare. Boom, there's another big one. We have one more, boom, right there. That one was also a near X-class flare. So we've had R2 to R3 level radio blackouts over the last 24 hours. And believe it or not, as this region continues to rotate to the west limb, I'm not exactly sure that the big flares are going to die down, because already region 4094 is beginning to show that it's getting a little bit active, and we could have some activity from region 4092 and 4093 as they continue to rotate through that hot longitude. So be aware that radio blackouts may continue to stay with us here over the next few days. And if this region here has anything to do with it, this is old region 4081. We'll talk more about it in a minute. This could be a big flare player as well. So amateur radio operators and emergency responders, expect to have radio blackouts stay on the menu likely for the rest of this week. Now, aurora photographers, we also have this coronal hole, and believe it or not, despite being much smaller than this one was, this one has the proper polarity to give us a bit of a storm. So expect that we could bump up to minor storm conditions here latter part of this week. Now, as I switch to our far-sighted sun, this is stereo A. We're back to looking at stereo A imagery because stereo A has finally shifted far enough to the sun's far side that we can kind of peek around the corner. In fact, you can see here's Earth, here's the sun, and here's stereo A staring at the sun just a bit from the side. And look at this massively big coronal hole that gave us basically nothing when it came to big solar storming. It's kind of a letdown this time. It's too far south and it's the wrong polarity. But you can kind of orient yourself. You can see region 4098 as it really begins to start growing here. Look how fast this thing grows. And it really begins to fire those big solar flares starting around the 25th. You can see it just pop, 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 pop. But meanwhile, region 4095 has not been all that active. So really only 4098 has been a big issue. And we'll continue to watch it on the sun's far side. We'll see how long it remains active, but it might kind of quiet back down. And now as we switch to our full sun map, this is SDO AIA as well as Solar Orbiter EUI imagery. We can see the SDO AIA imagery. This is the front side of the sun here in red. And then this is Solar Orbiter EUI imagery on the far side, because Solar Orbiter is actually looking at the sun's far side right now. And this is great because it allows us to have a full view of what's going on our sun right now. And you can see here's region 4098 kind of firing some really big solar flares. That should kind of give you and kind of calibrate you as to let you know where you are on the sun. But take a look at the east limb. So this is just barely out of Earth's view. This is old region 4081. This is the one that looks really ominous coming around the east limb. This was a bit of a player last time, but what's interesting is that you're seeing a bit of growth here in this region right next to it. So as region 4099 comes in, 4081 comes in, we also have 4086 behind it and another new region. So over the next 3 to 5 days, we should be seeing a bit of new activity rotate into Earth view from the sun's far side. So amateur radio operators and emergency responders, expect that those big radio blackouts aren't going to go away anytime soon. Not expecting necessarily R3 level radio blackouts, but R1 to R2 are definitely on the menu. And now stepping outside to look at our current conditions with our global geochron map, taking a look at the aurora. You can see it's really not all that strong right now, hasn't been affecting radio communication at all. And the main reason is because we just haven't had any fast solar wind or any big solar storms hitting us. And that's likely going to continue easily over the next couple days. As we turn and we take a look at our ROTI, our stellation risk for GPS and GNSS signals, also not doing too badly. Got a few pockets here and there, especially on Earth's night side, but not too much on the day side. So those higher frequencies are doing okay, like in the L band. You guys are doing okay for now. However, as we switch to our HF and we take a look at those frequencies, the DRAP is lighting up like a Christmas tree. And this is because of those R2 to R3 level radio blackouts. In fact, I've got a map down here where you can see where the big solar flares are over the last 24 hours. In fact, there's one right there. This actually did have an impact on radio frequencies. This was the R3 level radio blackout that happened just at the beginning of the 25th. You can see it right there. But things kind of calmed down a little bit. But these pops are, even though they're short-lived, they are still causing issues for you HF radio operators. Here's another one right here. I'll back up just a little bit. Not too bad of a pop, but you can see get a little bit more short range here during the peak of this particular radio blackout, which was in this case a high R2 level radio blackout. So understand that this is likely going to continue over the next couple days, possibly a little bit longer. And so HF radio operators expect some extra noise on the bands this week, as well as these radio blackouts. It's not your rig, it's just the sun. Switching to our moon, we are now passing through the new moon phase on our way to a first quarter. And by the first, the moon will only be about 33% illuminated. So you night sky watchers, if you want to catch those dim objects in the sky, well, now is your perfect chance. Now, switching to our solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week, we are anticipating some fast solar wind starting around the 28th from that coronal hole that's rotating in through the Earth strike zone. So at high latitudes, NOAA is expecting active to possibly minor storm conditions with up to about a 25% chance of major storm at high latitudes. So aurora photographers, if you're at high latitudes, you could get a nice showing. So definitely enjoy through the 28th and possibly in through the 30th before things calm down. Now, mid-latitudes, well, we're only expecting unsettled conditions, but we might see active conditions right around the 29th. NOAA's giving us about a 15% chance of minor storm conditions starting around the 28th, maybe bump that up just a little bit by the 29th, but things will definitely calm down after that. Of course, with all of these radio blackouts and big solar flares popping off, well, those conditions could change quickly if we get a big Earth-directed solar storm. But right now, the aurora is just because of the fast solar wind that we're expecting. So aurora photographers, enjoy the opportunity. And if you're at mid-latitudes, probably only if you're dedicated should you really chase. Now, switching to our radio or solar flare and dayside radio blackout outlook over the coming week. Well, we are sitting here now about the mid 130s for solar flux, so we've bumped up a bit, and that's because of the big flare players in Earth view right now. NOAA's expecting moderate noise on the bands. They're expecting about a 65% chance of R1 to R2 level radio blackout, and right now about a 25% chance of X-class flares. That's going to be over the next 3 days. Then things will probably calm down just a little bit. We're going to probably calm down to 15%, maybe even 10% chance of X-class flares, but likely not going to go away. And I'm thinking that's because we're going to have other big regions rotating into that hot longitude and causing big solar flares. So amateur radio operators and emergency responders, stay on your toes this week because there's probably going to be a lot of noise on the bands as well as these radio blackouts. And now as we switch to our radiation storm and polar aviation outlook over the coming week, well, everything is in the green this week. We're sitting at the D1 normal range. This is at flight level 360 for you aviators. It's also the S0 quiet range for everybody else. NOAA's giving us about a 10% chance of an S1 or S2 level radiation storm over the next few days. That's likely going to calm down just a little bit as we move into Thursday and Friday. Things could probably settle down a bit, but then next week things may rise again. It all depends upon what these big solar, big X-flare players do and the new ones as they rotate into Earth view. So aviators, looks like you're all in the green right now, but always pay attention to those ICAO advisories because things could change quite quickly. So the space weather this week is getting kind of exciting. We do have some fast wind from coronal holes, a set of coronal holes that's going to give us a bit of aurora show. Aurora photographers, if you're at high latitudes, you definitely could get a chance to chase. If you're at mid latitudes, well, take it easy. It may only be a mild storm, so only if you're dedicated should you chase. Now, amateur radio operators and emergency responders, well, yes, radio blackouts are back, and they're going to likely continue to be a nuisance for you over the next few days, possibly through the rest of this week before things begin to calm down. It really depends upon what we see as regions rotate through that hot longitude. So just kind of grin and bear it for a bit. And now you GPS users, well, things aren't great on the day side because of the radio blackouts, and things aren't going to be great starting around the 28th because of aurora and that fast solar wind. So you're going to need to stay vigilant pretty much all the way around the globe, especially anywhere near dawn or near dusk, and of course anywhere near aurora. I'm Tamitha Skov, the Space Weather Woman. Thank you for watching.
Okay, thank you, Tamitha. Of course, as you may have noticed, the report covered mostly this week, and leading up to today. It's always an issue with Tamitha's reports because she doesn't release her videos at a certain time every week all the time at the same time. It's like, let's do a video and just put it up. So unfortunately, in most cases, it doesn't quite marry up with my Friday night cast. So it would be good if her little solar reports would the week following would start off as like tomorrow for the next week. But so I basically showed tonight's video that she did just a few days ago as a more for a historic aspect, because for most of the HF operators that are involved with HF comms throughout this week, would probably be interested to say and look at that information to say, oh, that might explain a few things. So that's one of the reasons why I thought I'd show that tonight. Anyway, thanks, Tamitha. She's very good at what she does. Now it's like already after 11 o'clock. Normally I follow up with a very quick rundown of what spaceweather.com has. So this is the current disk of the sun with quite a number of sunspots there. There's quite a few actually. The solar wind is currently at 731.6 kilometers a second at a density of 1.79 protons per cubic centimeter. Must find out how they measure that. So the sunspot number is currently 122. The radio sun at a flux density of at a flux frequency measured at 10.7 centimeters flux is 145 solar flux units. We finally got that right. The aurora, the current aurora activity over Antarctica is this. So it was actually around about this time last night. It actually arced up. They had some very bright red associated with the aurora. So there would have been a good possibility of some interesting aurora down in Tasmania. But that's the current activity, so it's fairly light on to say that. And the coronal hole, I did capture an image of the current coronal hole of where a lot of high charged particles does escape into space. There is another image here that I took off spaceweather.com, which basically shows up until the end of this week the kind of activity for the estimated planetary K-index figures. And having said that, the planetary K-index is currently 4, which is considered unsettled, and over the next 24 hours the KP index is actually as high as 5.67 and is considered storm conditions. So the planetary K index is looking quite good for this coming weekend. In general, the report is that there's a super fast solar wind. The solar wind is blowing around Earth faster than 700 kilometers a second, or 1.6 million miles per hour. This is putting pressure on our planet's magnetic field, causing G1 and G2 class geomagnetic storms, extending yesterday's long-lasting storm into May 30. High-altitude sky watchers should remain alert for auroras. Yeah, so I think that's all I'll mention on that one. And I'll go right down to the page. And where are we here? Oh, yeah. Potentially hazardous asteroids, PHAs, are space rocks that are larger than approximately 100 meters and can come closer to Earth more than 0.05 AU. None of the known PHAs is on a collision course with our planet. I'll stress that because there is some sort of weird report going around of a mysterious asteroid hidden behind Venus that could collide with Earth. I don't know where this nonsense comes from. Just ignore it. An asteroid hidden behind Venus. I mean, goodness gracious me. Anyway, as of May 30, 2025, there were 2,349 potentially hazardous asteroids. But, like I say, none of them are on a collision course with Earth. But it's always the ones that we don't know. The ones that Hollywood loves to make movies out of. All right, I think I'm going to finish up there now. So on that note, thank you for watching and listening. I had a quick look at my email and I noticed that, go away, that's something on the window here. Andrew, KIS, Dave, VK3AIF, g'day Dave, and Stephen, Mr. HK, has also honed in to say that he's been listening on 3541 with a 30 dB plus signal. I hope the audio has been good because I'm still haven't quite worked out how to fix that since I lost my Pro 3, but that's another story. All right, this is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria. We are now opening up the frequency for any stations wishing to call back. And let me just turn the volume up. I think I've got that. Yep, I have. So is there any stations wishing to check in? VK3 EKH listening.
VK3 SPX.
Wow. Thanks, Steve. VK3 SPX. Are there any other stations? Oh, that's very quiet, isn't it? It's one. G'day, Steve. VK3SBX. Have a say, mate. VK3EKH.
Oh, VK3EKH. This is VK3SBX. Well, you won't need to stay up to 3 a.m. today, which it's unprecedented. I don't know, where the hell is everybody? Anyway, yeah, all right. Well, anyway, enjoyed the show, Clint. Yes, I'm going to say something that'll come in a minute. There are great photos of the sun's coronal rays, weren't they? That's amazing that you get such fantastic photos of the sun. I think it was maybe a 1.5 metre telescope, so must be a pretty enormous hydrogen alpha filter. Somehow you've got to stop the sun melting the telescope. I just take those pictures, so yeah, good trick. A little telescope has small filters that are a really big filter. That's interesting. What else was I going to say? Oh, yes, finding new dwarf planets. You mentioned you're going to see if you could make some discoveries there, Clint. Yes, difficult for an amateur astronomer to make discoveries, but you never know. It's always possible, isn't it? So, yeah. So anyway, get your stuff working there, Clint. All right, I'm a little out of things to talk about. Not that there's much competition at the moment. All right, Clint. Thanks for the broadcast, and we'll see you again soon. VK3EKH. This is VK3SBX.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Good on you, mate. VK3SBX, VK3EKH returning. Very good. Yeah, those images are absolutely stunning. I mean, our star, our own sun, is so close to us that we should be able to acquire these sorts of images. So I'm surprised it's taken this long to get the resolution that we're seeing here. But with the various probes that are actually out there that are examining the sun and getting all the data that we need, I'm still, I mean, there are. I have seen photographs taken by amateur astronomers that have got the Lunt telescopes and the special setups for doing astrophotography on the sun, and the video that they record, like several hours of video that then is put together and sped up so that the motion of the flares and the coronal emissions that do occur, we can actually see, because it seems to happen so slowly. You can only really perceive it when it's sped up. So, but the detail in some of the images when they have the hydrogen alpha filters attached is stunning. You can actually see the filaments on the surface. It really is beautiful work, and I look forward to doing the same thing. Yes, I appreciate that being able to detect the possibility of other planets is a big one, and it's a matter of dedication, because it's to be able to take several photographs or images of the sky and then go back to those multiple images and look for anything that's subtly moving is a dedication. I mean, that's how we discovered a lot of our remote planets is by that sort of process, and it just comes from a love in doing that work. And I think it would be interesting to see if it's possible. I think if amateur astronomers are able to actually see, not visually see exoplanets, but be able to see the light from their host sun dip, I think that's pretty amazing. So I'm looking forward to doing the same thing. I know there's a swag of exoplanets out there that are now known to have planets orbiting them by virtue of the fact that the light dips. And I know that there are some amateur astronomers that have a setup, have been able to set up to measure the same dip in light. So that to me is extreme astronomy. So to be able to study. I mean, there's so many people out there, so many observatories that are actually doing this sort of research to find other objects that might be in orbit around the sun. So and a lot of those discoveries do come from amateur astronomers most of the time. But those observatories that are set up by amateur astronomers are fairly extensive. I've seen some observatories where they've got 2, maybe even 3 telescopes looking at the sky all at the same time. A lot of money. Some of these astronomers have really poured out a lot of money in their observatories. So good on them. I think that's fantastic stuff. Anyway, and of course the other thing is comet hunting. I know that's a possibility too, to try and find comets. I would love to be able to find a comet that nobody has found before, put my name on it. So we'll just see if that happens. Anyway, as you say, the idea is to get the observatory set up. So I'm still waiting to get the 600 millimeter pier from Sidereal Trading. The guys out there have been very busy still installing domes. So anyway, I'll just have to wait a bit longer for that. In the meantime, thanks, Steve, for listening, and all the other listeners out there. I know there's a swag of listeners out there, so thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Friday to do it again with all the latest news, and we'll continue it on again. So everybody have a nice weekend. This is a long weekend for me. I've got an RDO on Monday. So it's a nice long weekend. And then I believe the following weekend is a long weekend by virtue of the fact that it's the King's birthday weekend. So 2 long weekends in a row. Anyway, thanks, Steve. This is VK3EKH with VK3CSJ on the microphone, concluding tonight's broadcast. Thank you for tuning and listening in and watching on the YouTube channel and the Discord channel. And we'll see you all next week. This is VK3EKH. All right, so let's fade out the video. I'll just bring and run this for a minute, just because I think it looks spectacular. Sorry, I had my mic down. Go ahead, Steve.
Sorry, Cliff, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I had the mic gain turned down. I did call back, but you didn't hear me until I realised the mic was down.
Oh, no, it's just I had Discord and the 7300 going at the same time with about a half second between the two, and I didn't quite understand it because of the echo. Yeah, no, look, that's all right. I just wanted to say capturing the exoplanet is not too difficult, Clint. I have done that. So that was quite a bit of fun, and it's good to do a bit of science as well as the astrophotography. I'm sure you're probably interested in doing that too. So, yeah, you get the ones that, of course, you do succeed in getting the ones where the light of the star is obscured by the planet going around it. But there's a few other methods by which they detect exoplanets as well. They're not so easy for an amateur astronomer, but that is certainly another fun thing to do. Absolutely. All right, I'll let you get off to bed or whatever now, please. This is VKCSJ.
Yeah, that's interesting, Steve. I'll probably tap into your knowledge on that one when I get around to doing that. I did a when I was in section director for radio astronomy, one of my friends and myself, we set up a table at Science Works, I think it was, quite a few years ago now. But it was a, I think it was just a Saturday. There was a whole lot of presentations going on. Mount Burnett was there, ASV were there. There was a whole lot of presentations and things going on. And in the same area where we were, I think it was the ASV, there was a group in the ASV that had a table set up about exoplanets. And that's where I found out at that point that you could observe the exoplanet via the dip of the light from the host sun. And I had a quick look at their table, and I thought that's something I really would love to do. And as you say, do some real science at the same time. That just sounds so fantastic. So definitely look forward to doing that. And I think there'll be nothing more pleasurable than to be able to record the dip of light collected by the telescope and actually create a chart. You know, that little dip of dots. It just blows me away that we can do that. So looking forward to it, Steve. Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I just thought I'd add that. Yeah, a lot of things like that are good fun. I spent a bit of time trying to get an image of Proxima Centauri too, which is not visible to the naked eye. And when you take a photograph there of the sky, there's just so many stars there that it's almost impossible to figure out which one it is. The only way I succeed in doing that is by looking at an older image of that sky, and you can see that it had moved slightly against the background of all the other stars because of its proximity to it. So yeah, lots of interesting things to do as well as getting great photographs. All right, Clint, I'm going to let you go. Been good to talk to you. We'll see you again for VK3 CSJ. This is VK3 SPX.
Thanks, Steve. Good on you, mate. VK3SPX, VK3CSJ is clearer, and I'm just in the process of trying to find this video. I found it. I've just got to download it. The one it was called Astrolight, the Astrolight Festival, September 10, 2016. And there was another one, ASV Radio Astronomy section at Science Works, August 22, 2015. The easiest thing for me to do is just quickly download that on YouTube, from YouTube, and save it to the file here, and I'll put it up and play it. So I won't drop off on the video yet. I'll just keep it running, and I'll play these two videos in just a couple of minutes once I download them. Anyway, all right, no worries. VK3CSJ.
Okay, thanks. I'll leave it running. Okay, thanks, mate. 33.
Righto. What I want is that. Turn that down. Okay, so that goes for 2 hours, 2 minutes and 58. Let me see. I'll just grab hold of that URL. And then I will go to the YouTube downloader program and add that to a file. There it is. And I grab hold of the other video. So we go back to where are we? Go back one and grab a hold of the other, which I think is that one there, Astrolight Festival, September 10, and go there, and there's the URL for that. Grab that URL. I hope that's working. Oh no, it's working. Yep. Okay. Just give that a pause and then go to there and add that to the list. There it is. So I've got the two. And now I can download those two. Can I do it at one of both? No, maybe one at a time. I can only download one at a time. That's all right. So I shall download that first one. And let's hope that works okay. It's good to see that my stream hasn't fallen over. Okay, we're downloading the first program. ASV Radio Astronomy Section at Science Works, August 22, 2015. So that's downloading at the moment, and it's nearly complete. It's only a few minutes, it doesn't go for very long. Nearly finished. Nearly finished. It's funny, this YouTube downloader that I use, it does the video and the sound separately. It's really funny how it does that. Alright, now I shall download the second one. Add to download. Yep, okay. Alright, now what are we doing? It's downloading. But I'm not sure if it's the second one I've got here or the first one again. I don't know. Astrolite. Oh no, it's the second one. Okay. And going to the same file. So that's nearly complete. And nearly complete, 99%, 100%. Now the audio file. Okay, that's almost done. 100%. Yep, 2 videos have been downloaded successfully. Thank you very much, YouTube Downloader HD. So I shall just minimize that. Open up vMix, and what I'll do is I'll just bring up my camera on me first. So there I am, and I'll just drag in vMix these 2 videos. Import is, I suppose, a more correct term. And they're in there, I think. I've got to clean up my video file. There's so many videos. Okay, let me find it somewhere amongst this bunch. Astrolite, there it is. So I shall bring that across to vMix. Astrolite, there it is. Okay, 3 minutes and 57 seconds, and I'll just bring in the other one. Astrolite, Astro Festival. Astrolite, where's the other one? Right in front of me somewhere. ASV, there it is. Alrighty, there it is. Okay, let's run this. Let me just play it for a sec. This is the, oops, this is the, come on, play. This is Astrolite Festival, September 10, 2016 at Science Works. And I'm not sure if this is the one that incorporates the exoplanet thing. It might be the other video, but I'll play this anyway. So here it is. Oh, hang on, before I do. I better just patch the sound through, or else you won't hear anything. Okay, that's done. All right. I saw you smiling.
You probably seen it before. You may remember it from looking up at the sky. It looks a bit like this. Have you all seen this before? Body, stuff like that. But we want to see what the galaxy really looks like. So we need to find a way of improving these flightless birds. And so what we do is we use...
Moderate size ones. So you can almost think of the way the energy works as being additions. Things are close together. It's really important. So if I have something like Strider, yeah, they're all set up. So why would they be doing a slightly different experiment?
Acid, which has the chemical formula of CH3CH214COOH. Now, these other elements, these carbon
noise levels goes right sounding. So we can actually measure, because that's a calibrated level thing, working out how many megawatts of energy that Jupiter actually emits. The volcanic dust that comes from higher cells and ring around Jupiter as an orbit. The energy from Jupiter is in the shortwave band, so effectively if we do this out the country.
What I'm going to get you to do, we're going to get someone here to stand on 3 miles. Alright, so this is the bit where someone is going to press to make it record. That one there, so if I hit that, that's recording like that. Now remember folks, whenever recording video from a camera phone, this way around. Horizontal video, none of this video, vertical stuff. So here we go. Good evening, hello, my name's Sean from Rough Science. We've got Sean. Everyone give her a round of applause.
I haven't got an antenna on it, but it looks good. Yeah, I reckon. More commonly for pulsars, which is probably 80% of the work they do. Radio distance. So what telescope?
And all that, so everyone's talking and, they talk about, and then we can come on anytime. So every Friday night, and Deep Sky night.
Probably all of us.
First time you come, say Deep Sky, it's free. After that, they probably ask you to join a membership or
That sort of stuff at Berwick, but this is a far more interesting. I'm in Canada as well, so it's sort of much more interesting doing a little bit of this and seeing what we can do.
You know we have a Friday night broadcast?
Yes. Yes.
You can actually run a program on a Raspberry Pi that is multitasking. I forget what you call it now, but you can tie a whole lot of Raspberry Pis together, and they act like one computer.
Oh, just parallel processing.
Parallel processing,
That's
yeah.
what Calvin was talking about. Yeah, he's going to get like 10. Put them all in a box. And then
You run one as a master, you give it a problem to work out, and it sends off the...
Hello. Yep, there we are. Yeah, so there were only two short videos, basically just presenting what we did in 2014, I think it was, or 15, 16, one of that, can't remember the years now. But yeah, we had because we were right involved with the radio astronomy section at the time. We were quite happy to set up a table that showed basically what we were doing with the listening to Jupiter, decametric emissions from Jupiter. We had that all on display, and in fact, the last bit of footage that I showed of the color bars on the screen, that was actually, that weekend was the ATV QSO party was happening, and Peter was, VK3BFG was doing crosses to UK. For the QSO party, and of course I couldn't be involved with it because I was involved with the Science Works thing. But I do remember that bit about the exoplanet, and I'm so sad that I didn't hang around that table with the exoplanets. Here we are. Just sort of drifted off very quickly. Let me see if I can go back on that. So, where were we? So we're coming to there. Yep. And I'm sure there was another shot of the exoplanets. What was that? Did have another view of it. And there it is here. Yeah. So let me just kill that audio. I'm going to go on to Mount Burnett. So as you can see, there were a group, and that little kid there was really involved in that. The junior section, there it is. The junior section of the ASV was doing a project Exoplanet, and this is their write-up in detail on what they were doing at the time. And I was suitably impressed. I'm sad that I didn't keep the video, didn't record a little bit more of the what they had up on display here. But that little guy just there, if I can go back a bit, that's Robert Arrowsmith there. This is our radio astronomy table. I'll just play that again. Yeah, that little kid there with the red jumper. He just knew everything you needed to know about exoplanet hunting, and he did come across to the table in a short while, which I think you might have seen. There he is, just there. So that's our table. I'll just go back a little bit more. You can see that laptop running there. That's our cross to, there it is. That's our cross to UK. During the ATV QSO party, which Peter VK3BFG organises once a year, and that was all happening while we were doing our ASV presentation for radio astronomy. and that's Robert Arrowsmith there, VK3XRA, and there's that young guy, and I think that's his father just there too. So they came across to have a look at our radio astronomy section set up. So yeah, it was an exciting time. I really did enjoy being section director for radio astronomy during the 12 years that I did that, and yeah, so there it is. Quite a good time was had by all. But I've lost the enthusiasm these days. I just sit here doing this thing on ATV, and that's about it. So, anyway, right. I can see that the All Sky camera up at Heathcote is active. It keeps losing signal though for some reason, but that's the current sky up at Heathcote. The All Sky camera that views the sky. So it's a cloudless night up there. There's no clouds up at Heathcote. It's a beautiful. There it is. See, the signal's dropped out for some reason, but it does come good again. Must find out why the overall colour of the image is so brown looking. It shouldn't be like that. I think there's a filter. They need to put some sort of UV filter on that to color correct that image. But nevertheless, and I think I can kill the. Yeah, there we are. That's doing it live on the screen here. Get rid of the constellations, so you can have the image with the constellations, and you can see Scorpius right in the middle there. Or you can remove the constellation, so you more accurately see the star field. Just waiting for the picture to come good again. I don't know why it's doing that. It's I don't know why it's dropping out. But I guess it's all to do with Wi-Fi. I'll remove the constellations, and there it is. It's how the sky looks with a sensitive camera and a wide-angle lens, and you can get the whole sky in one view. And that, as you look at that image, you're looking towards the centre of our own galaxy, 26,000 light years away. All that faint light and all the dust lanes that can be seen, it really is quite amazing. It really is. Beautiful stuff. All right. I think I'll conclude. It's what is the time now? It's 11:49. Yep. All right. Shut the YouTube stream down as well. You have been viewing another session from the Astronomical Society of Victoria, and which finished a few minutes ago, and VK3CSJ running visions on YouTube, Discord, and also on YouTube channel as well. That's rather annoying how that keeps dropping out. Anyway, that's far better. We say a very pleasant good evening to everybody that's still watching. Cheers.
Yeah. I thought so. I was just wondering whether we need to walk around.
No, once it's here, they need to come back.
Okay. Yeah, otherwise it's just, otherwise
So they know when to stop.
I hope they do. I hope there's some sort of device that says stop, stop.
So, inside this structure will be the new 40-inch telescope. If you think the 25 is big, when you go up the ladder to the 40-inch, you will have a parachute strapped to your back. However, there is an upside because you'll be closer to the stars, obviously. There's a lot of people that have been working behind the scenes to make this possible. It's going to be called the Jim Trainer Visual Observatory because it was Jim's bequest that gave us, don't go away Chris, that gave us the money to be able to get this work done up here for the membership, and that was Jim's wish that the membership enjoy astronomy even more up here at the Leon Mao Dark Sky Site. There's a lot of people to thank. I'm going to thank a couple. Chris has been doing a tremendous job along with Mark over here. Who else has been involved that I...
Ron somewhere. Ron
Where's
Donaldson.
Ron?
Where's Ron?
Here he is. He's hiding down with Stuart. He's hiding down there.
That's Ron Donaldson, who's done a fantastic job with the building. Various friends of mine that have helped the ASV with the walls. We've got a lot of stuff at very good prices.
Fell off the back of several trucks. Is that what happened? No.
No.
Okay, thank you.
So there's still a little bit of time before we have the new accommodation up, which is going to be to the east of the current amenities over there where we were before, just the other side of the ditch, so to speak. The radio observatory, the radio astronomy observatory is going to have the new dish up. How far away are we with that?
Couple of months.
Couple of months off that, then we'll be really cooking over there. The new sleeping quarters, is it going to be 36 or 32? How many?
8 4's 32.
8 individual rooms that you'll be able to book, maybe for a small fee. Who knows? We're still trying to work that out because it will help with maintenance. Also, new toilet block there, showers, etc. What else is there? The 40-inch telescope later in the year by about August, September?
Hopefully July. Hopefully July the 16th, which will be the night, assuming the clouds behave themselves, we should be able to see every planet in the solar system on July the 16th, that weekend.
Will we be able to see the Planet of the Apes?
If we're here, yes, they will.
Such
Good
a pairing.
answer. We've been working on that one all afternoon, you can tell. Hopefully, this will encourage a lot more members to come up and use the site, because members can come up here at any time. You get the gate code and the code for the other facilities. You punch in the numbers and you're in. You can stay as long as you like, as long as you clean up afterwards when you go. That's all we ask. That's about it, I think. So the next official thing we're going to do, please thank these people that have been working on it. A big hand for them. Incredibly well deserved, and I marvel at their patience. I could have never done it. But then again, I can't boil water without doing something wrong.
Oh dear.
Sky for the Night is next, and we'll do like we did at the Starbecue. We're going to have it in here. Gather around my central chair over there. Get as far as you can up to the top. Sit down. If you've got a chair, you can bring it in, or you can pull up a bit of concrete. It's nice and warm, so there shouldn't be any issues. Come on in. Let's christen it.
I get tiles.
I'm going to get a photo of your song for this.
More room down here, everybody. Just walk through to the back. More room down this way.
Sorry, it's my fault for stopping all of a sudden.
And you guys, hello, operator. We've been disconnected. Hello, come forward. Over here. Keep coming right up here. Right up.
Just stop seats. It's all right.
These are the astronomers' friends. Get used to using binoculars. They are terrific, not just for looking up at the sky. If you get sick of astronomy, you can take them to the footy, the cricket, the beach.
Can you
no matter where.
Oh, it is that one.
So
You could take up bird watching. I mean the feathered class.
It's my duty at this point to say we can't make sexist comments like that, but stop me from saying it earlier. Come on in and have a seat, please.
There it is, 1, 2, there we are. That was a good time for the ASC and the Christmas Star Party. That was actually the Messier Star Party, which occurs early in the year, around March, is the Messier Star Party, and that was actually, particular Star Party was introducing the 40-inch telescope and the new roll-off roof. The same builder or the same structural engineer who designed the roll-off roof for the 40-inch telescope is also the same chap that designed the structure for our 30-foot dish antenna. He's just fortunate that he was a member of the ASV, so his services came free. But yeah, that was Perry Vlahos. He was the president of the ASV at the time, and Chris Rudge was I think he was the vice president at the time. So those, like I say, those were the days where the star parties that were up at that are held at the LMDSS were really good, and they still are really good. And definitely they draw in 200 to 300 people for each star party. Some of the star parties are mostly for members, but there are Christmas star party, for instance, is for the public. I think the Messier star party is now for also public, can come up there as well once you book a ticket. So yeah, anyway, that's just thought I dug that video up. I think there was another one I found as well. Maybe not. No. Anyway, I've got to download these videos. They do reside on one of my other computers, but the only way I can find this is to download off my YouTube channel right now. So, what time is it? It's 12 o'clock. Do I continue with this nonsense? I don't know. I'll just cut across to our all-sky camera, the live view of the sky up at Heathcote. This is the dark sky side that you just saw with a dodgy camera. Well, I think it's the Wi-Fi feed that keeps playing up. Anyway, all right, stand by. I'll see if I can dig up some other video for those that are still watching. Okay, next video just downloaded quickly enough. This is just a short flyover of the dish antenna at LMDSS. So it's from a drone, and it shows not only the radio astronomy section up there at LMDSS, but you can see the dish has been finally mounted on its support structure. A fairly expensive arrangement. There's about 22 cubic meters of concrete as a base, and there's a tubular not stainless, but a tubular metal section, 4 meters, about 4 meters long, that's bolted into the concrete, and then a couple of three-phase motor systems that drives the dish azimuthically and on altitude, as elevation, all for the purpose of tracking any celestial object in the sky. So let me just pick up this video. There it is. And let's see if this plays okay. Hopefully it will. So yes, there's no other sound associated with it. I thought there might have been, but so there it is. That's the dish from a great height, and you can see the astrophotography field at the top of the screen. That's there's several powered piers there where astrophotographers can set up their telescopes with their computers, so they can do astrophotography. Again, what's in view there is the 30-foot dish, the Kennedy, the DS Kennedy dish, and the Radio Astronomy Lab. It's a 20-foot container. We built the roof over that. The on top of that roof is the satellite feed. At the time, we were using a satellite for uploading our data, and there's a Davis weather station, and there is a Blitzen lightning detector up there as well, which was built by Paul, VK3KHZ. Thanks, Paul, if you're listening. Doubt it, though. But, yeah, so that's that was the... let's just run that again. Again, now, at the top of the screen there, in this shot, is the main... There's the top of the screen has the roll-off roof, which is got the 40-inch telescope in it, and that area just right at the top is the observation field. So, any of the star parties that Aosphere operate, again the Messier star party, the Galactic star party, and the Christmas star party, you can get anything up to 30 telescopes set up on that field. Amateur astronomers will bring their telescopes in. So if you're thinking about buying a telescope for yourself or for maybe for your children that's got an interest in astronomy, there's an opportunity in these star parties to be able to have a look at some of the telescopes and talk and ask questions to the astronomer about the telescope in question, and maybe what's the best telescope to get for a 12-year-old kid. But there's an opportunity there anyway. But that's what you're looking at there is basically the Leon Mao Dark Sky site as it was back in 2018, I think it was, and needs a bit of colour correction on this. It looks a little washed out, doesn't it? I'm not sure if I can do that on the fly here. Let me see. Oh yeah, I can do it on the fly. Haven't really done this before. Yep, I can't better not watch the repeater and do that because there's a delay. Alright, that makes a little bit more colour to it. And it's kind of brightness, isn't it? It's something about the brightness that looks a little ordinary. I wonder what this does. Oh yeah, that darkens it nicely. Probably a bit too dark. I'm just mucking around here. What else can I fiddle with? I'll leave that. That's the alpha. Oh, it's a little better. It's a bit strong with the colour, but maybe I can just knock it down a bit. Yeah, alright, let me run that. Alright. That's a little bit more interesting, not so washed out, but it's still a bit bright, isn't it? Look at the roof there. That's interesting too. In that shot, if I can just pause it for a sec. For a minute there I thought my mouse was visible. In the bottom corner there, bottom left hand corner, you can see the Radio Astronomy Lab, but right in that area is it's a little bit hard to say. I wonder if I can zoom in on that, actually. Let's see if I can do that on the fly. Position. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. Look at that. Isn't that amazing stuff? vMix. Now, I need to go back to that so I can fiddle with it. All right. In that shot there, you've got a horn antenna. There's a hydrogen line horn. Now, that's actually functional at the moment. The new section director that's running the radio astronomy section, Phil Costigan, he's now got that horn working. It's basically the intention was to show visitors to the site that how radio astronomy kind of started. Some of the early kinds of antennas that were used to measure the cosmic radiation background, and also the hydrogen line at 1.4. And so that horn antenna, it's a 4-foot horn, is more for show, for demonstrating that it's one of the kind of antennas that could be used for receiving or doing radio astronomy on. Next to that, to the left of the horn, you can see the log periodic. There's a log periodic antenna that's got the sun glinting off it. That's the Callisto project, which was a citizen science project. And E being electronic or internet based, Callisto stands for, and I can't remember right now, but it's to do with spectrometer research. Finally got that right, on the sun. So that log periodic is on a azimuth elevation rotator, and it's using an old antenna rotator controller, a ham 4 I think it was called, and it's got the sun coordinates in it. So that log periodic tracks the sun right through the whole day. Once the sun sets, the log periodic goes back towards the east and gets ready for sunrise the next day. And of course, we're looking at radio emissions from the sun from as low as 50 megahertz up to 1.2 or 1800 megs. 800 megahertz, because the Callisto spectrometer utilizes a UHF tuner, a VHF UHF tuner, standard television stuff. And it's got a special sweeping electronic circuitry that produces a spectrum between let's say 80-90 megahertz up to 800, and that produces raw data or GIFT FIT files, which gets uploaded to a web server over in Switzerland. And there's a chap by the name of Christoph, I forget his surname right now, that monitors all the research that comes from not only our station, but there's Callisto spectrometers right across the whole world. The South Australian Society, Astronomical Society, is running an Callisto station, and they get some amazing results out of it. So Callisto, just look it up, Callisto, E-Callisto, and as in the name of one of the moons of Saturn, I think it was. It is. Anyway, that's Callisto, and next to that with the dish, that's not there at the moment. That's been removed, but the plan there was to have a solar radio telescope that was tuned to the 10.7 centimeter band, and the plan was to make that strictly a solar radio telescope at the same wavelength that's used for space weather, and to try and correlate the data that comes from 10.7 centimeters with the optical. It never quite got off the ground, that particular project, but that was the intention anyway. And just behind the Callisto antenna, the log periodic, it's a bit hard to see it, but there's you can see two supports, and that's the the decametric phase dipole, which is operating at 20.1 megahertz. Two dipoles that are phased together, and they operate at 20.1 megahertz on on a very, very simple receiver, a single a direct conversion receiver, and that monitors the 20 megahertz frequency for solar flares. There's three things that receiver can do. It can detect not only solar flares, but also what we refer to as decametric emissions from Jupiter. Jupiter is a very active planet for radio emissions, and it produces short and long pulses type emission as a result of spiraling spiraling electrons between the moon Io and Jupiter. There's a synchrotron effect that gets occurred, and as the electrons spiral along the magnetic field, it produces radio emission at shortwave frequencies from as high as 40 megahertz down to as low as 80 megahertz. And it's possible to detect those emissions here on Earth when Io and Jupiter are in the right alignment as such. Yes, it's been known for quite a while. In fact, it was a couple of Australian radio astronomers that first detected the emissions from Jupiter back in the early 1950s, but they weren't really sure what they were detecting, because their main job at the time was to study the sun. But they noticed on their chart recordings how there were these strange peaks of noise being picked up, and unfortunately at the time they weren't tasked to study Jupiter or to find out where these emissions were coming from. 4 years later, a couple of radio astronomers in America decided to take off from what was discovered in Australia and do the research, and discovered that Jupiter was producing these emissions and became a science all on its own. So they got the claim for discovery of that. Anyway, that's the way it works out. Decametric emissions from Jupiter, look that up. It's very, very interesting. I think that's about all I can really say at the moment in regards to that. Over in the far corner, which you can't see in any of these shots, and I don't think it was running at the time, is a Whistler receiver. And that's a special receiver. It's basically an audio amplifier with an antenna attached to it, and it's operating down in the audio frequency spectrum, long wave, as in very long wave, and it's detecting lightning strikes, but particularly lightning strikes that occur on the other side of the world, where the energy from the lightning strikes are propagated along magnetic fields, lines of field, and there's a kind of a Doppler effect on them, and we're often listening to those to listen to what they refer to as the whistlers, and it sort of sounds like a and you can actually quite easily hear that. So that's a receiver that was designed and built by Stephen Bentley, VK3YJQ. Steve VK3YJQ is now the key engineer to looking after this whole radio astronomy site now. So bless his heart for that, looking after all the electronics and the programming. And he's doing a great guns with what's going on up there. Thank you, Steve, if you are listening, but I know you're not. You'll be certainly well and truly in bed. And now I might be. Let's see if I can move this. Let's see. I'll just run this with it zoomed in like it is. That's Phil VK3. Oh, I forget his call sign. He's got a foundation call, but that's his car there with the tent around it. Phil's known to camp up there over the weekend. Alright, so there's a close-up of the dish. Now in this shot here, of course, there's nothing at the focus point. We've only just got the dish up and running, and the plan at this stage is to fit a hydrogen line spectrometer to the focal point of that dish antenna, so we can do all sorts of research on the hydrogen line. Right now, of course, that is fitted. There is a spectrometer attached. Again, Steve YJQ has been working on that. So, yeah. So, it's an exciting time. It was. I can't remember how many concrete trucks that came that morning. It was a weekday morning. I had to take the day off work to get up there. In fact, I think. Yeah, I left at about 5 o'clock in the morning to get up there by 8, and the first concrete truck came in at around 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I think there was probably about let's say 10 trucks that rolled up that morning to pour all that concrete that you see there. You can see that there are square things at the sides of the concrete pad. They're actually a pit, because we had cables, optical fiber cables and power cables. Part of the design concept of this concrete pour was to create a little pit, and it's a metal cover that's on those pits so that we can get down into where the cables roll, so it's an easy access. Otherwise, there's a couple of trenches dug underground carrying power and RF and optical fibres that was employed at the time. So it was quite an interesting arrangement, that indeed. In fact, we do have video of that. I should let's just see if I can grab that all of a sudden while I'm still playing around here. To an audience of probably 0. But that's okay. I don't mind just talking to myself. Do it all the time anyway. Where's my YouTube channel? Go back to my YouTube channel. Go there. Alright, so there's the making of the foundation is what we call it. And it goes for 9 minutes. Let me just pause that, and I'll just grab that URL. Go to, it's already there, so add that to the list and download. So we are currently downloading. Like I say, it goes for about 9, almost 10-minute video, very much cut down and edited down. Alright, it's downloading. So in a minute you'll be able to see what we went through to dig that hole and pour the concrete all in the span of 9 minutes. It took several weekends of regular driving, 2.5 hour driving for me from here to Heathcote, to Ladies Pass. And alright, that's downloaded now. Let me just move that across to vMix. Bear with me. Let me just run that again, and I'll queue up the making of add input, video, browse. It's got to be here somewhere. Somewhere. Where are you? making of the dish foundation. There we are. Alright, so let me segue from that to this. There's Steve, YKQ. That's our dish before it got assembled and up mounted. So this is going back quite some time. So there's the ditch being dug, and it's completed there, and you can see where the cable pits were going to be on the side. That's Phil Costigan, VK3F something or other. He never really got into ham radio. He just was proof of purchase sort of thing, that let's get a license and see if I could. There's me there winding the nuts on, and again this is building up the bulk cage. So there it is. That's before the concrete obviously gets poured. And that's what we refer as the bulk cage that the whole dish structure was bolted onto. And here I am making up the form for the concrete to go up against. There's our conduits that carry the power and data cables. All those bits of metal get straightened out before the concrete gets poured. There's Phil struggling with the one of the conduits. I did help him, of course. I wasn't always filming, but it was during summer. A lot of this work was being done. The weather was quite hot. Phil had a little water pack on his back. He had a tube, constantly sucking on a tube to keep hydrated. This is now late in the day, probably about 6-7 o'clock, and we're still working on this bulk cage. So we had to hurry because we knew that the concrete was about to be poured. We worked right up to 2 a.m. on Monday morning. I was meant to be at work. I was meant to be already heading back to work to start to work on Monday morning, but I rang up Monday to say I was decidedly not coming in to work. So we were led to believe that the concrete trucks were coming virtually the next day, but there was another week we had to wait. So here comes the morning. Phil is driving his car to bring the trucks in so they know where to go. And this is the first truck to arrive with the concrete. And of course the other key thing here was that this was all done during the warmer weather, because if that ground was the slightest bit wet, everything would be, those trucks would be being bogged severely. And I think you're having troubles hearing me. Yep. Okay, so I'll just shut up. Okay.
But and he had some knowledge that it's all happened before. I'm a bit skeptical.
Right, I'll go back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I've wound the audio down on that, so my level is easy to hear. Maybe a bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know which number of truck this is. This could have been the second truck. It could have been the fifth truck, and I don't know. But anyway, it was quite a big operation to get this concrete all done. Lots of concrete, 22, 23 cubic meters. It's David, there's Phil, and the workman. I'm not sure which truck number this was. This could have been the fifth truck to come in.
And that will record for about 2 days.
I can. Oh yeah.
Yeah, through the pot. Yeah, through the pot. Yeah.
Dodgy eye.
Yeah. So that he made. What the guy was
Well, the job's almost done. We use the vibrator there to compact the concrete. Try and get any air bubbles and to settle the concrete properly.
There's still time.
And now comes the job of trying to flatten things out a bit. There was quite a bit of extra concrete left over.
Starts with an A.
I do recall there being a bit of an issue at this point in time, but we resolved it. And there is the square pad all done. We just had a little bit too much concrete around near those nuts and bolts on the bolt cage, so they're just making sure that the concrete is clear of the threads coming out of the concrete. And they're using just a broom to create a finish on the concrete.
You know that it's.
And there it is. Next stage, the tower section. And I've got a whole lot of video of that. It's a bit disconcerting hearing myself. But I haven't edited together yet. So that's the next video production I've got to try and do. But that's so many years ago now that we did all that. And I've just got to try and get all that finally together. But we had a crane come in, and the crane lifted the dish into place, and between a couple of the guys we managed to get the dish bolted to the plate that tilts the dish up and down. But I'll get that video sorted out in due course, and I can show that on a late night time slot here on CSJ TV at after midnight on a Saturday morning when nobody else is watching. In fact, if there is anybody watching, just send us an email, vk3csj@gmail.com. Let me know that you're watching, or on 147 400. Just give us a quick burst if you're just out of interest. All right. I think that is it, because I do have a headache. It's annoying me. So we shall conclude definitely now and return the repeater back to normal production, normal programming. VK3CSJ, Narre Warren South.